Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome to a Monday edition, a game day edition of the JP Peterson Show. I'm coming to you live from our new South Tampa studio. Nick Gattos in his home studio here in Fishhawk. We got so much to get to today. A huge weekend in the NFL. The Bucs have a huge game tonight that could put their season back on track or set them back even further. We'll talk a lot about the Bucs and Chiefs today, and so much fallout from the weekend of college football. I, like a moron, attended the FSU game this weekend. Oh, I got stories. From that. And we might even talk some football as well. We will talk about a Gators, I thought, effort that was fantastic. UCF laying it down. So much to get to in college and the NFL. And breaking news, Dennis Allen has just been fired. Like we all knew this was coming. Good morning to you, Nick Gattos. How are you from On3 Sports? What's going on?
Good morning. I'm doing great. What no Bucs, so I got a chance to keep an eye on everything that went on this weekend. So much to get into. You were unfortunately at the burial of Florida State for the 2024 season, and I'm sure we'll get to you.
I think I was at the wake.
Or the wake, man.
Long buried. Yeah.
Yeah, long buried. You're at the wake. We're all in different stages there. So we'll have your stories later, but you didn't even mention USF it feels like, forever ago, but USF gets a big win on Friday night as well.
Humongous for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot going
drama.
on in the, and drama at the end of the game too. Drama at the end of the game. And then you wake up this morning and it's like, well, you know what? The Bucs play a pretty important game tonight. No?
Yeah, this just in. This just in. Yeah. So we got lots to get to. Sit back and relax. Another 2 hours of Tampa Bay sports centric stuff to give you. We're efforting Sal Paolantonio, but we're having a little technical issue with our phone line today. We're in our new studio. We don't have all the bells and whistles just lined up yet, so we're still trying to get him through other means. So we'll see if that goes down. If not, he said he will join us later in the week to break down what happens tonight. So hopefully we'll have him at 11 o'clock. But we obviously we open it up for comments on our Twitter, that JP Peterson Show, on our YouTube at the JP Peterson Show, Facebook as well at JP Peterson. So you can join us in so many different ways. We appreciate you guys. So get your comments in. And Bucs Rays Bolts is already firing off. Todd Bowles next to get fired. Is he gone from the Prince to the outhouse pretty damn quick after the 3-1 start. Yeah, it's been a little difficult for Todd Bowles, and it may get real difficult tonight. But we're not firing anybody just yet. Hold on there, mister. Yeah,
no,
last year they were 4-7. We haven't even reached that point yet.
I was going to say Todd Bowles is going to be ultimately judged not based on tonight against Kansas City or tomorrow or next week against San Francisco. Todd Bowles is going to be judged what happens after the bye week when we get to that schedule. If that slide continues, then Todd Bowles probably will not make it. But we still got time to get there, and who knows? Maybe he steals a victory tonight or next week against two really good teams,
which I think is entirely possible. And this is what's weird about this Bucs team. I mean, they beat a really good Philadelphia team, beat them soundly.
Well, Philadelphia didn't have their anybody to throw to besides Goddard
true.
In that football game.
That's true, but they beat them soundly.
Yes.
They beat a really good Lions team at Detroit.
They're the only team to beat the Lions this year.
What's that?
They're the only team to beat the Lions.
How that defense played. Of course, Servassier Dennis was playing that day, but I can't believe the loss of Servassier Dennis, a backup linebacker, has led to this disastrous defensive performance the last few weeks. You got to be able to adjust to that. I mean, I could see losing Vita Vea. It may be hard to adjust to because you don't have another one of those. But Servassier Dennis, that's the key. That was the key to your defense, really. That's interesting. So I still feel like Todd Bowles has a defensive game plan within him, and I still feel like this defense can rise up and play some good defense. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but we've seen it done before. Last year, I think we were saying all the same things when this team was 4-7, and they somehow turned it around and with a tougher schedule than they have down the stretch this year, and turned it into a division championship, a playoff win, and almost an NFC championship appearance. So, I mean, we just have to go back to last year to see how this team turned it around. Now, I still lament the fact that we were cutting all the intros and outros too. Our WMOR Bucs pregame show, countdown to kickoff tonight at 7 to 8 o'clock. If you want to watch all Bucs stuff, then you tune into MOR TV, which will be on the lower end of your cable dial. It's an independent station that has a lot of great shows, but we've been doing these. We were supposed to do the game tonight. We were supposed to have the game on our air, but the NFL pulled it at the last second. So we went ahead with the pregame show, pre-tape, not live from Kansas City as we had planned, but we got all the great content. So instead of listening to those knuckleheads over at ESPN talk about everybody else but the Buccaneers, it'll be all Mahomes and Kelsey and Taylor Swift tonight. We have a little bit of that in our show, but not much. It's mostly Bucs. So check it out from 7 to 8 o'clock tonight on MOR TV. That said, this is a great opportunity for the Buccaneers. It's Monday Night Football. And, we can sit here and say, I think they're going to get absolutely boat raced. And I can make that case. I can absolutely make that case. And would it shock me if this is the best game of the year for Patrick Mahomes? Nope. Nope. I mean, if Kirk Cousins is slicing and dicing you up a couple of times, then yeah, and the Ravens did whatever they wanted against this defense, then yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to make a case for this defense, except to say that we've seen them, and we've seen multitudes of teams just turn it around in a week-to-week league, right? It's week to week. And Todd Bowles has done this to Patrick Mahomes before. So, maybe there's it. Maybe he knows a little
from
something.
That.
What's
we're
that?
We're a long way removed from that, though.
A lot of different talent on the field, no question about it. But game plans are great, but it's it's usually the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's. Especially in the NFL. I mean, coaching's important, obviously. And that's, if you're doing the checklist here tonight, quarterback, well, I think I'm going to give the check to Mahomes. Even though Baker's numbers are better, who's got it's quarterback. It's Patrick Mahomes. Let's just be honest. Coaching. Yikes.
Oh,
Andy Reid v. Todd Bowles, except for the Super Bowl mismatch. And then Spags v. Liam Cohen. I mean, I think Liam's done a great job, but Spags is maybe the best in the game.
Right.
So from a coaching standpoint, huge advantage to the Chiefs tonight. From a personnel standpoint, offensively and defensively, advantage Chiefs. So it's hard to make the case, but I could also go look at, 10 games yesterday or, it's the NFL. Anybody can win at any time. But it's very difficult to make the case for the Buccaneers staying in this game tonight. It's really hard. I'm certainly not betting on them, even though they're 9-point underdogs. I'm not betting on them. But we'll see. It's an opportunity for Todd Bowles to go out there and do something that many of us think that he can't do. And he's proved us wrong many times. Nobody thought at 4-7 last year he was going to come back. I had him fired. We all had him fired. But he fought his way back with this team, and this team reacted and plays hard for him every night. Even though they don't play smart, they play hard. And, make a couple of picks tonight, catch a couple of balls, get some turnovers. Who knows what happens? I think this offense can score some points. The Chiefs have a great defense. They're fifth in overall scoring defense. I think they're fourth in total defense in yards. They're very difficult to run against, the number 2 run defense, but the Bucs ran the ball against the number 1 run defense and the Ravens. How do the Bucs win tonight? Well, they run the football, and they stick with the run. They shorten the game. They muck it up. They get a couple turnovers, and they pull out a huge upset win in a place that's very tough to play. Is that going to happen? 15% chance. 15% chance.
That's a lot of things that have to go
yes.
right for your football team to come out of here with a win. You mentioned, Kansas City, at least offensively, is not playing their best football. I think they're getting better every week that goes by. They're getting closer to resembling what they should be.
Yeah.
And Travis Kelce is starting to become more noticeable as the year goes on. I think he had over 100 yards last week on tight end day. And that's the biggest mismatch on any side of the ball tonight is Travis Kelce. And we know he has such a great, probably the best of any tight end I've personally ever seen in the history of the league. His feel for getting into those spots in the zone defense. We know the Bucs run a ton of zone defense. and being able to, it's almost like he disappears a little bit and just somehow catches every pass. And sometimes he'll just sneak up on you and have 10 catches for 100+ yards. And that concerns me tonight because make no mistake about it, folks. I challenge you to find many linebacking duos that are playing worse right now than KJ Britt and Levante David. I mean, they're just not, again, lack of communication, lack of whatever Todd Bowles wants to call it, concentration, like whatever the reason is, they're just not playing well right now. The two safeties are not playing well right now. So those things scare me. And then of course you have the speed that Xavier Worthy can bring. DeAndre Hopkins in his second game with the Chiefs after having a full week now to get accustomed to everything that the Chiefs want to do. And then Kareem Hunt's been running the ball pretty well since he's taken over for Pacheco. And that offensive line is pretty stout too. So there's just so many ways that Kansas City can beat you. And if I were a betting man, I think they're probably going to figure it out tonight, JP, because the other part of that too is the Bucs have no pass rush. I mean, they have no resemblance of a pass rush, and it's not going to be easy playing in maybe the toughest environment to play in the NFL. It's Monday Night Football. The Bucs honestly they still have not solved their primetime woes necessarily. They typically do not play well on primetime. For whatever reason, that's turned into a real thing. And as you mentioned it, all the things you're saying the Bucs are going to have to do to win a football game, it just seems like that's just too much to rely on against this team that's 7-0.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Again, but we see it every week. We see this every week, but it's a lot. It's just, look, every time we handicap football games, we try to make a case. And I think, I made that case, and it can happen, but they're a 9-point dog for a reason. They're a 9-point dog for a reason, and it could get ugly tonight. But that said, listen, it's still a marathon. This team, am I a little concerned that Jason Light has done nothing to improve this team in terms of going out and trying to make a trade? Yeah, I am. It just tells me that they've just believed that this team is not close. So that even if they made a couple of moves, and I'm sure he explored some moves that would not be 1-year rental moves. I don't think that philosophically that's something that can happen here. But I don't know. I just think that there's so many different avenues for this team to be able to I shouldn't say so many avenues. There's a way for them to win this game, and it's shortening the game and running the damn football and getting a couple of big plays from guys that you don't expect.
They have to commit to running the football too, because I think that was a big problem for me last week against Atlanta. They came out and they were running the football at will against Atlanta. And that game was never to a point where it was like, oh, you have to pass. Like you have to pass every play. But for whatever reason, and that was my main criticism, if I had one for Liam Cohen last week, was they sort of got away from the run a little bit too much there. It felt like in the second half, and they put so much on Baker's plate. And Baker right now, listen, the turnovers are a real thing with him right now. I mean, 7 interceptions in his last 3 games. They're not all on him, but they're still coming in the most inopportune times. And they just kill your momentum. And the less you can put that defense on the field, of course, is going to be the better. So Baker Mayfield, we cannot have another multi-turnover game tonight. And we know the Chiefs are going to be looking for it. I'm curious to see who's going to get the matchup against McDuffie, who's one of the best corners in football. Can one of these receivers step up? I know a lot of them. I think all 3 of them were on the injury report this week with hamstrings. Yeah. So now we got to worry about that because those can be very touch and go, especially a guy like Sterling Shepard, who was on the report with a hamstring injury because he's older now.
Which is amazing why the Bucs didn't add a receiver. But, when I hear Todd go, we like our guys. We like our guys. We like our guys. I mean, they're backups for a reason.
And he told us at the beginning of the year that we like our starters, but we don't have the depth on this team. He admitted that.
Yeah. And not a lot of people don't have depth. But listen, Jalen McMillan had a chance to win the game last week.
Yep.
And Baker had a chance to hit him for 2 balls that would have changed the game. Baker can't miss a deep ball, and he can't throw picks today. He cannot throw picks. And this defense, teams have figured out that Baker has a couple of different throws, and those are to Mike and Chris, so everything's different. So this actually might even help them. But they've figured out that you come off your man and you make that play, which is a gamble. It's a gamble. You come off your man and you go to the place where he likes to throw. And maybe Baker's staring it down a little bit. So guys are like, all right, we're going to play his eyes a little bit more than we would normally do it in man-to-man coverage. And we're going to see where he throws the ball. Or in zone coverage, you got your guy, but you're watching the eyes. And that's gotten him a couple times. The guys that are picking the balls off are not the guys that are the primary coverage man on that receiver. It's guys coming off their man that are making plays. So that's a thing. That's a thing that guys are picking up on. So corners and safeties are going, I'm going to find spots when maybe I've got somebody over the top protecting me, or find spots where I can take chances and go get it. And that you can do that. You can do that with Patrick Mahomes. And the Bucs got to get a couple turnovers tonight. He's been throwing, he leads the league with Baker in picks with 9, at least at the start of this week. So I don't know if Jameis is caught up yet or not.
Jordan Love has passed them all. Jordan Love has passed them all.
Okay, he's passed them all.
Yeah.
I thought Jameis was already in the mix. What did he throw, 3 yesterday?
Yeah, his luck ran out a little bit, right? They dropped like 3 the first week that he played, and they caught them all yesterday.
Funny how that works. So yeah, there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance, but it's not. But if they lose this game, and unfortunately San Francisco's getting healthy at the right time, although they may not play McCaffrey just to say, well, do we really need him against the Bucs defense? We probably don't. Let's give him an extra week's rest. But
we can only hope. We can only hope.
Yeah, we can only hope. But this defense has got to turn it around. It's got to step up. It's got to do something different. I've seen Todd Bowles do it before. I've seen them put out surprisingly good defensive efforts. So we'll see if they do that tonight. They got to tackle better. Listen, if they just don't coverage bust, who knows where they could be? Who knows where they could be? But they've got to play a clean game tonight. They've got to be perfect. They can't turn it over. And you get a shot. It's the NFL. I'm not going to sit here and say they got no shot, but they keep playing the way they're playing. They got no shot. They got no shot. They've got to clean it up offensively in terms of the turnovers, and defensively, they've got to clean up the coverage busts. And let's just listen. And that's what's expected. When they were winning games, that's what they were doing. Yeah. And I'll tell you that, I mean, even offensively too, I would love to see more Sean Tucker in this football game. I think the usage of him ever since he won NFC Player of the Week is just appalling. It's criminal, like you said, whatever buzzword you want to use. And then in the receiver group, I think we all were so focusing in on Jalen McMillan, Trey Palmer, and Sterling Shepard. I got to tell you, the more I see, and Raheem Jarrett obviously just came into the fold. Raheem Jarrett was the best receiver on the field against Atlanta, and it seems like he makes tough grabs. We saw that in that game against Atlanta. I'm curious to see how much they get him involved today, because along with Cade Otton, because I think we all are going to assume, unless Kansas City tries to take him out of the game, which they very well may, Cade Otton is probably target number 1 in the offense right now. And then you're probably looking at Bucky and Rashad are probably 2 and 3, to be honest with you. Yeah. And then I think Raheem Jarrett is probably I think he's actually the most polished of the 4 receivers that you're primarily going to see tonight. So we'll see if they can get Raheem involved, but obviously it's going to be down to Liam Cohen to try to get creative and draw up a game plan that can try to get past what could be the league's best defense right now. And Liam admitted last week that he should have stuck with the run game. So that was a learning experience, listen, if the Bucs can go out and run, that'll surprise the Chiefs. That'll surprise Spags because nobody's really been able to do it. But the Bucs, I think they can run. They can run the football. They can do that. And that will be their way to win the game. They're not going to, if they throw 50 times tonight, they're not winning. There's no question about it, because they throw 50 times, there'll be at least 2 picks. Yeah, and you got to worry about 95 too. He's pretty good on the other side of the ball, and that's going to be an important matchup tonight. I'm sure he's going to be lined up against Graham Barton a lot, or Bredesen or Malk, whatever. I'm sure they probably move him a little bit, but he's another one of those guys who's a game wrecker. He is an absolute game wrecker. He's a Hall of Fame player. So that's going to be another thing. Like, don't let that guy destroy the game for you. What's the Nathan Elliott's asking about bad weather? Is it bad weather for tonight? I haven't seen. Let me do a quick little Google here. That would help. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely help. James says, I'm amazed that our D is healthy and now we suck. Other than 8 being out, why is this happening? I don't know. I mean, It's a mystery. This defense should be so much better. A lot of it is, and of course, this is the thing about the NFL. You can play good, and they played good early. Servassier gets hurt, and suddenly they can't cover the middle of the field. Like, you should be able to withstand that.
Yeah,
right? I mean, this is what
Servassier Dennis. Like, I like Servassier Dennis, but him being one player out of the equation should not make everything go to crap.
Exactly.
Like, everybody else outside of Jamel Dean is healthy right now, and that's the thing. You were waiting for just wait till they get all their guys back. Just wait till they get all their guys back. Well, they're back, and the defense looks the same as it has for the majority of the year. It looks worse, to be honest with you. And again,
so what that tells me is, okay, everybody else looked at the tape and said, okay, this is where they're vulnerable. This happens every year in the NFL. This is why, good coaches have great records and bad coaches have bad records because they can't adjust. The other teams go, oh, well, there's a flaw. The middle of the field seems to be easy pickings for the Buccaneers. Well, let's just do that. And until they fix it. Well, they can't fix it. Yeah. They haven't been able to fix it. And it's just the same shiz every week. Same. I mean, how are you not fixing it? You're going to play the same guys, do the same things. You ain't fixing it. Try something different. Try Vi Jones. Try anybody. Try anybody different. Try dime. Try nickel. Try until something works better than 500 yards up the middle of your field every week. Can't do it.
Also,
can't win with it.
Not to pick on, and this to me is a larger discussion for the defense, and why I'm very frustrated with that unit right now. Is I feel like some of the past Todd Bowles defenses, there was always that, we've talked a lot about this, like the fired starter, the guy that holds everybody accountable. I'm looking around that defense right now, and I'm struggling to see where that's coming from. I don't think there's any player accountability that's taking place on that defense because, I guess to use the popular word, I don't see any dogs on that defense. Yes. I don't see any type A guys running around holding people accountable. And the one dude, it's like before the game starts and they huddle up midfield, do you know who the guy who's in the middle of the circle?
Yeah, it's KJ Britt.
It's KJ Britt. And you know what that reminds me of? Devin White last year and the year before that. It's the guy who's the guy who's the loudest. Yeah, it's the guy who's the loudest and the biggest personality on the defense. Right. But he's the worst player on the defense. So as teammates, how do you look at that guy for leadership and try to follow him? I feel like that's a big issue right now with this defense is you just don't have any dogs and guys that are going to be going around saying, hey, this crap's got to stop. Like, we got to take it upon ourselves to play better. I don't know if they have that right now. So that's the concerning part I have overall with the defense too. And by the way, to the point about the weather, I just looked it up. It looks like it's going to be a nasty one tonight, JP. It's 100% chance of rain in Kansas City today.
There we go.
With thunderstorms expected this evening, and it's going to be in the 50s, probably going to feel more like it's in the 40s. So it's going to be a nasty one.
Ooh, 40s and rain. Saw that in the Packers game. Yeah, well, that's not our type of weather, but it could muck it up. Get a couple of slippery turnovers.
Based on that, Baker Mayfield should not be throwing more than 35 times in this football game.
Yeah.
No way.
Right. I love it. I think it gives the underdog a much better chance.
And your run game's better than Kansas City's. Like, Kareem Hunt's been okay, but you're better than them.
Easy says the defense is just full of nice guys. You want to take them, you want to go to dinner with them, but you don't want to play with them.
They are. They're nice guys, but they're just not like, they just don't have any type A guys.
Need some dogs, no doubt about it. This Bucs, Ray's Bolt says the Bucs lose 40 plus today. Bowles will get fired. No, he won't. He's not getting fired. No. Not getting fired in the middle of the season, nor should he be fired, to be quite honest. Teams go through dips, and they got you. Your coach has to figure it out, and he did last year. 4-7, they make a run. They're only 4-4 right now. They could lose these last two games, games, and if you want to be okay.
If you want to look at it from the other point of view, like, look at the schedule they've played. They've only had one let-up game all year long, and that was against New Orleans. Every other team they play, after tonight, JP, they will have played what I would call the three best teams in the league between Detroit, Baltimore, and Kansas City. Rank them however you want. I think those are the three best teams in the NFL right now. And they've played them all. On top of that, playing Atlanta twice, playing Philadelphia, playing Washington, playing Denver.
They played a tough schedule.
Yeah, they haven't had any let-up games, and they're 500 through it right now.
That's why I think, you don't want to get too down on the team, get too down on the coach, because this is, even if they lose this week and next week, even at 4-6, But before the season, I had them at 5. I said, if they're 5-5 after this at the bye, they're fine. They're fine. They still have of those last 7 games. You just got to win. You got to win 6. I still think 10 wins can get you in, depending on how the rest of it does.
Yeah,
I mean, the Falcons are going to lose some games. You look at the Falcons, you go, okay, they're a decent team. They're going to lose a few games, and maybe even more than a few. I don't think they're not world beaters, and they've got some tough games coming up. They've got a little bit tougher part of their schedule.
And the Bucs, as we mentioned it, you look at the second half of the game, and the more the weeks go by, the second half of the season looks even more encouraging for their outlook, because again, the Giants have no idea what they're doing. Carolina got a big win yesterday, but let's be real. You get 2 games against them. If you lose
either of those games to Carolina, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs anyway.
Las Vegas just fired 3 coaches yesterday. Like Dallas is in complete disarray, and now Dak's hurt, CD's hurt, and then you got New Orleans who just fired their head coach.
Dak says they fucking suck.
Yeah, the only game that looks truly unwinnable right now is that the Chargers away, because the Chargers actually do have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL and are playing well offensively. So that's the game that scares you, but everything else there is very doable. So if you can steal one of these games and get to 5-5, then yes, the season is still there for you to make some kind of wild card run.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's get to some of the comments here. James says, Mays RD is healthy and now we suck. Yes, I already did that one. Sorry. Tulio Acevedo, have not seen you here before. Look a little young to be in the group, but thank you for coming in. Liam Cohen is the next Saints head coach. Oh, hell no. Hell to the no. Liam Cohen might be the next Bucs coach. We'll see. We'll see how this. But listen, if the Bucs get to the playoffs, there's no way they're firing Todd Bowles, and they'll probably lose Liam Cohen in the offseason.
That's the unfortunate part of the business.
Yes, when you have a defensive head coach and you find a good OC, guess what happens? The OC gets taken, and you're back to square one.
Yeah.
Unless you hire the OC.
It depends. It depends how the Glazers view it. If the Bucs get to the playoffs and they lose in the wild card round, and that's a clear step back from last year, do they say, you know what? That's not what we want. It depends how the Glazers sort of view it.
And I think right now, after this season, we will have gotten everything we need to know about Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
And we may say, Todd's a decent coach, and he can let you hang around 500. We want to be better than that.
Yeah, this was supposed to be the year the Bucs they go up to the next level.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be that.
10 games? Yeah, probably. I think that's where he's at.
But yeah, the part of that though is the offense. The offense you have this year, their ceiling is much more than winning 10 games. So if your defense continues to play like this and you win like 8 or 9 games and miss the playoffs, then yeah, Todd Bowles is probably not going to be here next year.
And I'll still say this, you go back to individual decisions that were made, and you can debate whether they were the right decisions or not. I tend to say beforehand, and I did with Mike Evans, he shouldn't have played that game against the Ravens, and he certainly shouldn't have played after he got hurt. 100% sit his ass down. Somebody go take his helmet. That's all there is to it. You're the coach. I don't care how bad he wants to play or says he can play. Nope. Not doing it. And then again, Godwin, in there, ridiculous. And those are 2 coaching, I think, ridiculous mistakes that you've made. But we've talked about that. So that comes with, if you're the Glazers, you sit there and say, that didn't work out so well. Those coaching decisions did not go well. And that's a minus. That's a minus. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about Todd Bowles' future. But tonight, winning this game would go huge for him being retained. I can tell you that. Go out and win a game you're not supposed to win. Like you did in Detroit. You did it in Detroit. Do it again. Yeezy says Bucs will win tonight and lose next week. They struggle with games they need to win. Fine with me. You go 1-1 over these 2. You get to 5-5. I'll be farting confetti. Hell to the yes. 5-5 is with the remaining schedule. You should be a playoff team.
I will say the Bucs have played much better on the road this year than they have at home. Mm-hmm. We'll say that they've dropped 3 games at home this year already.
Yep. No. James says the issues Bucs have is Chiefs have Andy Reid, an offensive genius, and NFL teams shy away from D-minded head coaches. So Chiefs have kept Spags highly paid forever, and their D overcomes their offensive struggles. Absolutely. 100% true. 100% true. RJ Martin reminds us that, but the Super Bowl mismatch wasn't Todd Bowles. We got to give him credit. You got to give him credit. I know it was much different personnel, but they went out and they did it. He gets credit for that. Nathan Elliott says David Montgomery is not playing very good when the Bucs played the Lions. Now Montgomery would have gone off. I don't like to say that. He was there. He was healthy. He didn't, whatever. The Bucs got the job done. That's all there is to it. They beat Detroit in Detroit, and you can't take that away. Problem is, Detroit's going to finish with 12, 13 wins, so the tiebreaker is not going to help you. Tiebreaker could help you with Washington. I just don't know if they're going to lose. What are they, 6-2? Washington now?
They're 7-2.
7-2. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to end up with 10 wins. I don't think the Bucs can get to 11. I don't see 11. But I think they can get to 10, which is where I predicted them to be. If they can get to 10, then it's going to be how things fall, Of course, if Jaden Daniels gets hurt, and he already got hurt once this year, then all bets are off because they're heavily dependent on that young man for sure. Yeezy says, I see what Arizona is doing on defense, and I can't name anyone that have other than Budda Baker. We have problems all over our defense and can't do anything. Yeah, coaching matters, man. Coaching matters. And right now, I don't think Todd Bowles is doing a very good job coaching that defense. And I think that's. No, he's
regressed as a D coordinator since becoming the head coach. No doubt about it.
Yeah. And I just think, with all the game mismanagement, I just think it's as obvious now as it's ever been. He needs to stop calling plays. He needs to give up the play calling or become an assistant coach. I don't know. Because he can't do both. He's not good at both. He's not. So
I don't know. On the other side of that, players got to play too. Play too. And again, show me who's making plays week in and week out for this football team right now.
Yeah. Antoine Winfield made a play. Unfortunately, the refs missed it.
Yeah, but Antoine Winfield Jr. also screwed up on that play.
Yeah.
Resulting in him having to bust his ass to make that play.
Absolutely. So, there's a lot of holes in his defense right now, but it's weird how it gets fixed in one game. And now that, it's going to be a sloppy game tonight, so anything can happen. Let's go, Bucs. What's going to be fun? Here's what's going to be fun. It's freaking Monday Night Football, and the Bucs are playing. And we got an hour-long Bucs-centric pregame show on WMOR TV, which yours truly will be hosting. So please tune in from 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. And you know what? It's going to be fun. I'm sure Tay-Tay's going to be there. She's got the night off, so it's Monday Night Football. It's the night before the election. I'm for sure she'll be there holding up a sign or wearing a shirt.
And I think she was performing at
ABC.
I think she was performing at Lucas Oil last night.
Oh, she was.
Which I thought to myself, I'm like, the Colts are playing on Sunday Night Football, and on the same day, Taylor Swift is doing a concert in Indianapolis, and I'm like, but obviously they flexed that game to Sunday night, so they didn't know that was going to happen.
So she played Saturday night there.
No, it was last night.
Well, what? Wait, the Colts were there last night, and so was she?
No. The Colts played on the road against Minnesota on Sunday night. I just thought it was interesting that while the Colts were playing a football game, their city was also hosting a Taylor Swift concert at the same time, which I was like, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was just that Saturday, but whatever. I'm sure she'll be there tonight, and it'll be interesting to see any election shenanigans going on with that. Although I don't even know if that's a positive. Well, who cares? We'll find out tomorrow. I already voted. I got my job done. So I hope if you guys have made, I would go, if you can, go vote today. Lord knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So go vote today. I know a lot of people like to vote on election day. I think this year I would probably avoid that at all costs. I would go today if you can, even if you have to stand in a little bit of a line.
I couldn't be happier at the fact that I have a playoff hockey game tomorrow night. Just beautiful.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, well. You're going to get called for another 10 high sticks by Kevin?
Yeah, I know. Kevin's probably just, scheming up right now how he can get me for a million calls tonight, or tomorrow night.
For those who don't know, Eric Erlindson's son, Kevin, and Nick played soccer together growing up. And now Kevin's the ref for his roller hockey team, or what do you call that?
Ball hockey team. And he constantly calls Nick for phantom calls. I love that. I just love that. I might have to get a 12-pack and come watch one of your games. A playoff game would be great. Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, by the way, Sal Pal says he's going to give it a go with our technology here on StreamYard. So we'll hopefully get Sal Pal on at 11 o'clock as he's taking his lovely wife to a birthday lunch. He's going to fit us in, so that's pretty cool. And we'll talk a lot of college football here in our next segment. So we're coming to you live from the Jeeves Law Group studio. And we appreciate the folks at the Jeeves Law Group sponsoring this wonderful show. And we have to get to the Gators or they'll kill us. And we'll do that next. We'll talk a lot about Gator football next when we come back, and FSU and USF and UCF. So our college block coming up next. Thanks to the Jeeves Law Group, the best in the business. If you have any issues in the legal field, they'll give you a free case evaluation. JeevesLawGroup.com. Tell them JP sent you. Back in 3, non-attorney spokesman, offices St. Pete and Tampa. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you could find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey, Tampa Bay sports fans. This is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gettys Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gettys Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolantonio here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Tarpon Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this game day Monday. Bucs and Chiefs tonight on Monday Night Football. But we got so much more to get to in the college ranks. It was a big weekend for these games. So we'll do that now. Brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, right down the road from us here. If you're having any issues with your homeowner's insurance right now and you have questions about what your rights are, and you want to get your insurance shopped around, just give them a call, get the great customer service and say, listen, this is what's going on. And hopefully they'll be able to answer those questions. They will. And then you say, by the way, can you shop around my homeowner's insurance? And I got to get some flood insurance, need that too. So give them a call, 813-877-7799, the great folks at Italiano Insurance. All right. Where do we start? I think we should start with the Gators because I thought they played one hell of a game with a lot of guys injured. And then, they come out with a couple of picks of Carson Beck, which, by the way, I think his stock is going down.
He's losing a lot of money.
Quarterback. Wouldn't you think so? I mean, those are some bad picks.
He's thrown like 12 interceptions or something in his last 5 games. Like, he's probably fallen out of the first round for sure.
Yeah. When and he put up numbers with a much more dominant team. And clearly this is not as dominant. His parity has come to college football, folks. This is, as we sit here in week 8 or 9 or whatever it is, parity all over college football. Who's the best team in America? Oregon? Really? Okay. I mean, they're a good football team. Don't get me wrong. But, by this time we have 2 dominant teams that were like, okay, it's Alabama and Georgia, or it's Ohio State, or it's, we know who the dominant teams are by now. Right now, we need a 12-team playoff because I think number 12 might be able to win it. I don't know.
I still think
number 12, but
I still think there's 4 that sort of stand above in a tier right now. I still think there's 4. I think Oregon stands in a tier.
I don't think they're great.
They are. Good. They're a great team for sure. You just might not think they're as dominant as some of the other top teams we've seen in recent years.
Yes.
But Oregon definitely, they have the big win against Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And ever since a few early scares, they've been just playing great football. So Oregon's, to me, number 1. Ohio State lost that game by 1, and I think has played really good since that and despite that. So I think Ohio State
barely beating Nebraska, a bad Nebraska team.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, I guess. But I have Ohio State 2.
Yeah.
I would have Georgia at 3, and I'd have Texas at 4.
Barely beating I don't call them average, but an average Florida team.
Right. But here's the thing, JP. The reason why those 4 I would put above is because the teams that follow after them are Tennessee, who hadn't scored in the first half in like 5 games until on Saturday, Penn State, who nobody can trust in a big game, and that held firm on Saturday, and Miami?
Wow.
I mean, I guess Indiana honestly looks better maybe than Miami and some of those other teams. But my point is, like, that's the fall off though. So that's why I still think those 4 teams are still like in their own tier.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think to my point, I think it's wide open. I mean, would it shock me if Indiana beat Oregon in a quarterfinal game? If that's no. Wouldn't shock me at all. Would it shock me if, South Carolina takes out Texas A&M? They're done. Sorry, Timmy Ham.
They're not done. They're not done. They went out. They're going to get in.
Texas A&M?
Yeah.
After that loss?
If they went out, I think they'll get in.
I don't know. And this is the point. There's so much to debate right now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna dial in on our local teams here. We'll start with the Gators. Beck throws a couple of early interceptions. DJ Lagway, makes him pay with a great throw to Aiden Hill. They're up in this game, 10-3, 7-3. They're up at halftime. And to me, obviously, the injury to Lagway was a killer. That was a killer because I would love to have seen him play in this game and finish it out. And I think if he finishes the game, they win. I really do. I think they do. Georgia, you knew they were going to come back, but they got some very fortunate bounces. And then, so you have Lagway going out, and then you have the bad snap. Oh, my Lord. The Gators make that 51-yard field goal, eminently makeable, good kicker. You're kicking off. You got momentum. Georgia's sphincter's ultra tight. Instead, Georgia gets the ball at your 35, 40-yard line and gets a touchdown. I think that they take the lead there, and then they don't look back. I mean, and you got some third-string guy. What is his name? Aiden
Warner.
A
walk-on from Yale.
I mean, dadgummit. If you're a Gator fan, you're like, we had this would have been a monumental upset. And I think this Gator defense has completely turned it around. They were awful early in this season, and they had that bye week, and they completely turned it around. I mean, credit Billy Napier. This team is playing hard. They ran the football against Georgia. They should have won the game. They should have beaten Georgia. If FSU played Georgia now, they may lose worse than they did in the Orange Bowl. It might be worse than 63, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Florida should have beat Tennessee. They should have beat Tennessee, but Billy Napier was his own worst enemy on that one. But I go back to like that first game of the season. We all were watching. One of the marquee games in week 1 was Florida hosting Miami. And the way that game ended, remember all the negativity that was surrounding that program? And it was like, is Billy Napier going to make it a few more games? And whether or not Billy Napier ultimately will do enough to keep his job is another question, but you can't say this team is not still playing for him, that they're not still fighting their butts off in these tough games. And listen, they were tied 20-20 with Georgia with under 5 minutes left in that game. And you mentioned the fact that Lagway got hurt, but consider this. Graham Mertz obviously is not playing. You lose Lagway. There's no Montrell Johnson. There's no Eugene Wilson. There's no Jason Marshall Jr. And then you had 2 other starting DBs who were not playing either, and Devin Moore and Deshaun Johnson. Florida had so many injuries coming into that game and obviously left with more injuries, and they still were putting up the fight that you want to see from Florida at this point in the season. You could tell it still matters to them. They have not checked out whatsoever. And I'll give Billy Napier and the coaching staff credit. They clearly developed a really strong game plan to jump out ahead of Georgia. Yeah. And obviously were confusing the hell out of Carson Beck, and they were getting pressure and everything. That to me was that there are some encouraging things that you see from Florida right now. And that's obviously going to go into the evaluation process under Billy Napier. Of course, you got another big game next week against Texas before you get to play. You have to play Ole Miss. And then of course you'll get the let up against Florida State at the end of the year. But if he can somehow manage to get to 6 wins, it's again, that's not the ultimate goal for the University of Florida. We know that, but the fight that you're seeing from Florida is at least promising. Yeah.
I feel like right now, if you were to, I think there's a lot of Gator fans are like, damn it. I mean, now how do you fire Billy Napier? Now there's a lot to be done.
Well,
there's a lot to be done. And they got, they've got a 3rd string, Yale quarterback right now. I don't know anything about him, to be quite honest. Who knows who he is? And I don't know who else they got.
He's going to be up against it. No doubt about it.
Yeah. It's a tough ask. And hey buddy, you're going to Texas next week.
Yeah. And by the way, and also part of the other process is beyond what happens on the field. Remember last year, at least Florida, while they were bad on the field, they had this great recruiting class that was coming in that was headlined by Lagway. Fell apart a little bit at the end of the year, but they still scored a top 15 class.
Right.
Well, this year, struggling a little bit. They only got 11 guys in the class as well, just like Florida State. And they're right now on the On3 rankings. They're number 32, which is 1 spot ahead of UCF. It's not where Florida should be.
No.
It's not where Florida should be. So there's not exactly positive momentum on the recruiting trail right now. I don't know how much that's going to play into the role of it, but obviously Florida's going to have to eject more talent into the room.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I think at the very least, Billy Napier, it's not as cut and dry as it was a few weeks ago. Like, hey, there's no shot he's going to be the head coach next year.
Yeah. That bad snap. Holy heck. That really changed things.
But unfortunately, those are the things those things right there, unfortunately, showed up in the Tennessee game, those mistakes. And the margin of error against these good teams is just too small.
But then they get a pick. Clyburn gets a pick. And then Jacoby Jackson scores from like 20 yards out, and it's tied. And then you just, you get the quarterback throws a pick at the, it was a hell of a pick, by the way. Who got that ball? CJ Allen. He jumped up and just snatched that ball. That was a hell of a play. And that was really the end of it right there. They score, go ahead, and it's over. So a hell of a job by the Gators. No question about it. Which brings us to Florida State Seminoles. I went up there this weekend to see my friends. Had a great alumni party, fraternity alumni party. Big thanks to Ed Murray. Rented out Ken's. Ken's. Ken's a great bar. Right there on Tennessee Street. Rents it out. Gets us show up, and they got a big fish fry going. Fresh Gulf shrimp, grouper, oysters. They're walking around. Open bar for 3 hours. I mean, Ed Murray he's the shiz. Thank you, Ed. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Got to see all my buddies we're still after 38 years. I even hate to say 40, like 40 years. There's so many of us still together, still hanging out. That's it. That's an awesome thing. It really is. And so many of the guys I haven't seen in 20 years, 30 years, and you just see them and you're just like right back. You're right back at the frat house. Like you're right there. I mean, it was so fun to see everybody. And my buddy Spanky, who's listening now, love you, Spank. You're a bad boy, though. You're a bad man. It's bad man. And Keith Karam and Will and the whole group, man. And we had a great weekend. Got to sit so I'm sitting there watching the game with my two good buddies, John Farrell and Shelton Cruz, longtime high school football coach, head of the Coaches Association here in Florida. And I felt bad for the people in front of us because we were the three grumpy old men. Like everything that came out of our mouths was negative. Like it was negative. I understand. I mean,
what are you going to say that's positive?
Everything is negative. The stadium looks like shit. I know it's renovation time. It looks terrible. It was about
nobody asked for that renovation.
It's just nobody needed it, and now they're charging ridiculous prices for these premium seats. I hate everything about it. All these people that were sitting in those. I mean, we got tons of premium seating. We got a freaking Champions Club. There's plenty of skyboxes. I don't know how the hell reason they just need more money. I freaking hate it. I freaking hate that part of it. I get it, but I hate it. But anyway, so we got that going on, and there's nothing in the building. I mean, they're doing all these things trying to get the crowd hyped, and everybody's like, whatever. Like we're not getting hyped for this. It's just such a net. It's such a like if I'm a recruit, and I think there were some there. I'm just looking at this crowd going. I mean, there's no fourth quarter song. There's no bits. I mean, yeah, we got the chop, and the chop was going a little bit. It was going a little bit early on, but then it faded because, like, the team had faded. I've never left a FSU game in halftime, and neither had my friend Shelton. He's literally been going to these games for 55 years. Never left at halftime. We all left. The whole damn stadium left at halftime. It's like 14-3. There's no chance that this offense is going to do anything. I mean, yes, hopefully Fitz will kick another 58-yard field goal. That's about all we got. We can't even get to the effing midfield stripe. This offense is so horrific with any quarterback. I mean, I have to kind of apologize to DJU to say it can't be worse. Well, I guess it can be because it's been worse. I mean, it doesn't feel like you're finding a quarterback of the future. I mean, this is such an incompetent coaching staff. You got Keon Coleman out there telling everybody Ron Dugans can't coach. Don't go there. That's going to hurt your recruiting of wide receivers. Oh, we don't have a wide receiver in this class. The last one that was the good one just said no, thank you.
All three said bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Keon Coleman. And I want to blame him. I mean, you could probably keep it to yourself, but the blame is on the on Mike Norvell. Why do you keep him around? Everybody knows he's a terrible coach. Everybody knows he can't recruit. I mean, what are we doing? It's just, and then the second half, they just quit. Defensively, they just quit. I mean, maybe they're just like the offense can't do anything. What are we even doing?
No. I don't have an excuse for that, JP, because here I know I can pinpoint the exact moment when they quit, JP. I can pinpoint the exact moment. It was 21-3. And then all of a sudden, Brock Glenn takes a big shot as he throws like a 50-yard jump ball to Malik Benson, who makes a great play, the best play he's made in a Florida State uniform all year long.
Yeah.
And then it's 4th and 3. They go for it, and they throw a 30-yard pass to the left on a slot fade to Ja'Kai Douglas. Beautiful thrown ball, maybe the best Glenn's thrown all year long. Touchdown. And then they get the 2-point conversion. 21-11, JP, in the third quarter. The game is still within reach. And what happens? The next play is a 45-yard run with a face mask penalty tacked on, and UNC in one play is now in striking
down
distance.
the field. Yeah.
That was the moment. And then later in the game, the little shovel pass to Omarion Hampton, that was all I need. That was all I needed to see. Florida State, the defense, and not all of them, but there are some of them who literally said in that game, yeah, I'm done playing for the coaching staff. I'm done playing for the university. I'm done playing for the people who write my checks, and it's a large check. I'm done playing for the fans, and I'm done playing for myself. Yeah. And I see you guys making business decisions, and I singling out Shaheem Brown because he's the culprit. But here's the thing: the lack of the accountability. He shows no effort and no interest in trying to make a tackle, a touchdown-saving tackle on Omarion Hampton, who outgained your entire offense, by the way.
Yes.
And the next drive, guess who's out there? Shaheem Brown. Shaheem Brown's out there.
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
This is a common theme with Florida State and Mike Norvell this year. I don't get it. And Mike Norvell is the luckiest guy in the world because Florida State's 1-8. That shit's unacceptable at Florida State. And in any other scenario, the guy would be fired at the end of the year. But he's got 3 things going for him: his contract that they cannot cover, the stadium renovation that nobody asked for, and then the lawsuit, which is going to take up a lot of money. All these things are going in the direction that Mike Norvell is going to have to figure this out. Coaches have to go. Heads need to roll. And even then, I don't know if he can get them out of this.
Well, he's done it before.
I know that, but this thing is worse than at any point it was when Norvell first took over, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is worse than Taggart Ball. Absolutely, 100% worse.
This is embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. It's on so many levels. It's so embarrassing. And there's a chance they could lose to Charleston Southern.
Well, Charleston Southern has 1 win.
I don't care.
But to your point, who knows? Who knows? They've already quit.
Yeah.
What do they care?
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely awful. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Sal Paolantonio is going to join us. Yes, sir. I think we got him all hooked up. We shall make it quick break. Back with Sal Pal while we check his connection. Stay with us. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at rogersparkgolf.net. That's rogersparkgolf.net. See you there.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this game day Monday. Bucs and Chiefs Monday Night Football tonight. So let's bring in the man, the Hall of Famer. He is Sal Paolantonio, NFL senior reporter at ESPN and all-around great friend of the show. What's up, Sal Pal? How are you?
JP, my man. I'm doing well. It's great to join your program. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
Monday
thank you
Night
so much.
Football.
Oh,
Huge, man.
Thank you so much doing this on this special day, taking some time out. So a big happy birthday to the lovely wife, and thank her for letting us steal you for a few minutes. We really appreciate it.
Well, you know, when I said, she goes, really? I said, yeah, well, it's JP. She goes, well, for JP, I guess we can.
Oh, you just made my day. All right. Well, we're going to have to send her a Starbucks gift card then for the birthday. No question about that. All right. So, listen, we've been beating it around all morning. Like, how do the Bucs win this game? Well, I just heard it's going to be rainy and 45 degrees. Yeah, so maybe they can slop it up and win this game the way this Bucs defense is playing. I think this might be the night the Chiefs offense broke out, but maybe the weather will hinder that. Tell me about this Chiefs team. How are they getting it done at 7-0 without an offense clicking?
Well, I think you got to start with my paisan, our paisan, Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator. He's very game specific. When you plug in the tape and you look at what they do defensively, JP, you really can't tell week to week. It is really game specific and opponent specific. And I think in this particular game, you're going to try to see, they will try to break down the protection with heavy overload blitzes, which they have done against this offense in the past, and it has worked. But they're very good at command and communication. They're very good at overload blitzes, particularly to the quarterback's left side so that the quarterback can't pick it up. They try to get to that blind side, and I think that's the key. And, of course, they have Jones, who is so disruptive, and if you don't double team him, you have a problem. Chris Jones is a big problem. You have to double team him, and if you do, that's going to leave somebody open, unblocked to the quarterback, to Baker Mayfield. So that's what they do specifically defensively. When you look at them, they're very smart. They're very much in control. They have a lot of discipline. And what they do is present one thing pre-snap and then post-snap come at you with a completely different look.
Sal Pal, you know, the Bucs have been surprisingly good running the football lately. They've come to this. They found their scheme. Sean Tucker had an offensive player of the week, although he only got 3 touches last week after that and 7 the game before. Is there a chance that this Bucs team, and I think they can, run the football tonight, especially if it's sloppy, and maybe shorten this game a little bit? I think that's, and get a couple of turnovers. I think that's the only way they win it. But can they run it on this Chiefs defense that's ranked second against the run? The Ravens were ranked first, and the Bucs moved the ball on the ground against them. So I'm thinking maybe the Bucs could do that in this game. What are your thoughts?
It's very hard to run against the Chiefs. There's no question about that. But if you're looking for a blueprint on how to win this game, you just laid it out, JP.
Yeah.
You got to run the ball you got to make sure that you move the chains. And we're talking about volume more than production necessarily. The number of rushing attempts must be north of 25, somewhere around 30.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're eating up clock. Make sure that you're not giving Patrick Mahomes good field position by turning the ball over. It's basically football 101. And then try to get a takeaway, because when you look at Mahomes, he's been susceptible to interceptions. The quiet thing is he's been hurt by interceptions this year, but the years past, even though he threw them, a lot of those interceptions were nullified by defensive holding calls. He has the highest number of interceptions nullified by defensive penalties of any quarterback in the last 5 years. I don't know if you knew that. But
I did not know that, but it comes as no shock to me that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs get all the big calls.
Yeah, and the calls that they get. Well, I'm not saying that the defensive penalties were not, called for a reason, because in many cases they were. I mean, a lot of times they were just holding Tyreek Hill. A lot of times they were trying to just interfere with Travis Kelce. And now Xavier Worthy is a guy that people have been trying to hold and push and shove beyond the 5-yard limit. But the other thing you got to look at too is offensive line alignment.
Mm-hmm.
They get away with a lot of misalignments where the tackles are off the ball that other teams get called for. And the other thing is the Chiefs hardly get any offensive holding calls on their offensive line.
Ever. I mean, Pat Mahomes, he runs around like they're every which way, changing directions, ripe for and you could see the holds. They're all there, but, it is what it is.
So that's what you got to do. You laid it out. Number one, they've got to run the ball effectively, but they also have to run the ball with volume. Make sure you don't give up on it. I know that's kind of tough for Liam Cohen these days, but you got to make sure that you got high volume in terms of how much you run the football. Secondly, you can't turn the ball over and give Patrick Mahomes a short field. And thirdly, you got to try to find a way to take the ball away. Mahomes will give it to you.
Yep.
Tips and overthrows, you got to make sure you get those.
Absolutely. Sal Paolantonio joining us here. Sal Pal, Bucs fans are just mystified that this Todd Bowles defense has gone in the tank. They did an unbelievable job at Detroit, held them out of the end zone, 7 red zone tries. They beat Philadelphia. They beat Washington. They start 3-1, and now last 3 games, I think they're giving up an average of 36 points a game. Now the Ravens and 2 losses to the Falcons as well. Can Todd Bowles figure out a way? He's done it before. Figure out a way to get this defense back on track.
Well, you played 3 very good offenses, Atlanta
Yes.
twice and the Ravens. The Ravens lead the league in passing and rushing, which
So good.
I covered their game yesterday in Baltimore. And Lamar Jackson did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. Who needs practice? He goes out and gets a perfect passer rating. It's 16 for 19. And they boat raced the Broncos, who came into that game the 3rd best defense in the league.
Yeah.
So I marvel at what Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry can do. There's no harm in getting beat by them. And of course, the Falcons are just, they're just a very good dome team.
Yep.
And you went in there on a Thursday night, and Kirk Cousins had over 500 yards passing, and that happens. The game that you lost in Tampa, the game that the Bucs lost in Tampa, that's the game. That's the one you want back. No question about it. So now you got to play Kansas City, and this is tough. It's a tough environment, tough weather. You got to try to get back to what you do defensively. At least put something together that shows that you're turning the corner back to where you were.
Yeah. Sal Paolantonio joining us here. You mentioned the Ravens. If I'm at midseason right now and I need a Super Bowl matchup, I saw the Ravens firsthand as you did. They're damn near unbeatable. That offense is, I don't know how you had defend it with those, all those weapons and as good as they are. That said, in the NFC, I still think it's a toss-up to who the best NFC team is, but I think I'm going to go with the Lions, even though the Bucs beat them. I think the Lions are the best team. I'd say Lions and Ravens right now. If I was doing a Super Bowl pick, what would be your picks? You've seen them all, just about.
Well, let's start with the Ravens. Interestingly, Vance Joseph, the Denver Broncos defensive coordinator, played a lot of man-to-man. He put Patrick Surtain on the best wide receiver all year long, and that's how he's been able to blitz the most of any team in the AFC. Yesterday at M&T Bank Stadium, JP, he decides to play zone defense. Zay Flowers is running around like it's a 7-on-7 drill. That was a joke.
Yeah.
It was an absolute joke. It was a very bad defensive game plan. So you can beat the Ravens. And Spagnuolo has proved that you can beat the Ravens. You got to go to Kansas City. I'm not ready to anoint the Ravens yet as the AFC champs. You got to go to Kansas City, and you got to still probably play Buffalo because you're not going to have you got some tough games coming up. So I'm not sure if I'm looking at it that the Ravens are going to have a couple of home games and then be able to be on their way to the conference championship game. I think they're going to have to go on the road, and they're going to have to win some tough games on the road. So let's hold off on Baltimore 100%. The way they were played yesterday and the way the road they have to go on is either through Buffalo or through Kansas City. So that's a tough road. As for the Lions, can you believe, JP, the only loss the Lions have is to the Bucs at home?
That's right.
And they sacked Baker. They're still sacking Baker Mayfield.
Aiden Hutchinson. Well, Aiden's not doing it, but everybody else is.
What I'm saying is that, it's like it never ended up there. It was crazy, and they still won the game. So the Lions are a really good team. They're built for the road because of their running game. Their quarterback's not making mistakes. They're super well coached. And on defense. They didn't have Jamison Williams yesterday, and they didn't have Aiden Hutchinson, and they still steamrolled the Packers. The score really doesn't indicate how much of a mismatch that was yesterday.
Yeah. And I would say, too, like the other team to me that looks to be maybe the second best in the NFC is the Eagles. I mean, after what we've seen lately, they've won 4 games in a row since the loss to the Bucs, and then yesterday, like Saquon Barkley, like doing one of the most, crazy things I've ever seen on an NFL field. Like it feels like he's getting more athletic as he gets older, if it's possible. But to the point on the Eagles, does that hold up for you that you think that they might be the second best team in the NFC? Because I know, like, obviously everybody still has their doubts sometimes with the stuff that Nick Sirianni does during games.
You know what we learned in Week 9? We learned that Saquon Barkley is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's what we learned. I mean, here you got a leapfrogging a defensive back with a reverse hurdle on a 3rd and 6.
Unbelievable.
I think everybody in America, that's the kind of highlight that generates logos and T-shirts for Nike.
Yes.
That's like the dunk from half court. That's like Dr. J's up and under. Remember that Dr. J up and under scoop slam?
Yep.
That's like that. That was unbelievable. So, I could see the Eagles, but right now, they have to go through Dallas, and it's always tough to beat Dallas. Dak has their number no matter what's going on in Dallas. He's pretty good against them in Dallas. His record is very good. Now, if he doesn't play, that's a different story. But I feel like he's going to play. Hamstring's not going to keep him out of that game. And then they got to play the Commanders after coming home on a flight Sunday night from Dallas. They got to turn around and play the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. So this next 2 weeks is really important for the Eagles. They're only the 6th seed in the NFC. And, it's hard to go on the road in this playoff format and advance to the Super Bowl. It just is.
Yeah. Well, the Bucs did it with Brady, but you need a Brady to do it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And that was in COVID, so the stadiums weren't full. So it's
that don't count, JP. That don't count. Yeah. The asterisk at the end of my sentence goes down to the bottom of the page. It says that doesn't count if you have Tom Brady.
Yeah, or half-filled stadiums too when you're talking about going on the road and doing it. So that played a role as well. We'll still keep the trophy though. We're still going to keep that trophy, but Yeah, it is what it is. What it is. Well, Sal, listen, man, thank you for taking the time out. We really appreciate it. And by the way, congratulations going into the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame. Who you can't have an Italian American Sports Hall of Fame without Sal Paolantonio. So I'm glad they finally got that right, brother.
Yeah, it's really exciting. My family is just humbled and proud. And it's not only for me and my family and my friends, but it's for ESPN and everybody who has supported me through my career. It's going to be in a big banquet hall in Chicago, about 800 people.
I want to be there.
Going to have excuse me now?
I'm going to get a ticket. I'm going to be there. I'm going to visit my son. Send me all the deets because I'm coming up to support Sal.
Oh, my God. That would be awesome, JP. I would be so awesome. It's going to be great.
I went to Canton for Rondé, and I'm coming to Chicago for you, baby.
You don't have to buy a ticket, JP. You don't have to buy a ticket. You're going to sit at my table with me and my wife and my family.
Oh, come on. That would be a dream come true.
You do not buy a ticket. You're going to sit at my table that night. If you come, you're sitting. Do not buy a ticket. You're right to the front of the line. You're sitting at my table.
Well, I got you on live radio saying that, so it better come true. Absolutely.
Oh, that's a lock. Absolutely. That would be my honor to host my paisan from Calitri. I love it.
Oh my God, that would be. I'm gonna wear a button that says "Kiss Me, I'm Italian." Anyway, I'm Sal's buddy. Hey, listen, thank you so much.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. That's great.
Yeah, well, send me the deets for sure.
Okay, thanks for having me on the show. God bless.
You're the best. Sal Paolantonio right there. How about that? I get to sit at Sal's table. How about that? I'm going to Chicago. Yeah, baby. Fantastic. Yep, the Italian American Hall of Fame. That's fun. I think More Right Rudder has a little bet for us tonight. Sean Tucker plus 750 anytime tutty. Yeah.
What's the odds? What's the? Can I get the odds that Sean Tucker gets a carry tonight? I have to ask. I have to ask at this point.
You know, this is the thing that Liam Cohen will get better at. You know, he will get better at this. This is why Dave Canales had growing pains in the first year, and Liam's done it. This is his first full-time gig calling plays in the NFL. He'll learn. It's just sometimes you get caught up in the game, and then before you know it, you look at your play sheet and you're like, oh my God, this guy's only got 3 touches. And it always depends on game and score and formation and who's hurt and who's not. But in the end, there's no excuse for it. You got to find ways. Great coordinators figure out a way. Like, I'm going to get this guy 12 touches today. I'm going to figure out, script it however I have to, but I'm going to get him 12 touches. And sometimes you don't want to, but if things are going well, you don't want to force feed it. So, but they've lost these games, but the offense hasn't really been the issue. It's been the Bucs defense, although the turnovers have been costly. I mean, I don't know if they ever beat the Ravens, but the pick in the end zone pick by Baker changed the whole game, changed the entire game. So yeah, they've got to be perfect tonight. They've got to lean on the run game. And who knows? The Chiefs have been vulnerable. They've turned the ball over, but maybe they don't get 7 calls go their way tonight. Maybe.
I could already tell, as Sal mentioned it, the Chiefs seem to never get called for those procedural penalties before plays, and you're going to see it tonight. It's like their tackles always jump like at least a second before the ball is snapped, and it never gets called. Yeah. Really, it feels like I think they might have called it a lot in week 1, maybe, but that was about
on other teams.
Yeah, so I already know that's going to drive Bucs fans up a wall tonight. But regardless of that, and then there's been a lot of questionable calls in Bucs games this season. I think we're going to have the pylon cams tonight, if I'm not mistaken, since we're on national TV. I hope so. I hope so, at least. But you got to play through all that. I mean, you got to to steal one of Todd Bowles' favorite things to say. The Bucs got to play the Chiefs. They can't play the Bucs tonight if they're gonna even be in this football game.
And I hate to play the what if game, but and Sal says that game at home we had to have against the Falcons. He's absolutely right. Game on the road was won.
The game on the road was just
the ball run and going back to the officials, how they missed the Bucky Irving face mask grab is just beyond me. It's beyond me. A 4-foot hole, he's breaking through. He's got the ball in his hands. It's not like you couldn't see it. There's nobody near him except one outstretched linebacker arm who tugs his mask and turns his head. I don't know how you missed that call. I don't want to hear about it should be replayed. How do you miss that call? How do 8 pairs of eyes miss that call?
Well,
it's beyond
been happening. It's happening. It's not just a Bucs thing. I watch all the football during Sundays. Well, and I don't know. It's everywhere.
I don't know where the money is, or what the script says in the NFL. But it's plays like that you just, or the Sam Darnold one where you go, "What are we doing?"
No, NFL officiating.
Maybe there is a script.
An epidemic. NFL officiating is a bad epidemic right now. I mean, even yesterday, I'm watching that Rams Seahawks game. I don't know if you saw, Puka Nacua gets ejected for throwing a punch, and I mean, come on. If you saw the replay on that, folks, I mean, throwing a punch is a very, very extreme way to say that.
Yeah, and
we're taking a great player out of a great football game, and it's Puka Nacua of all people, by the way.
Yeah,
like. It's just ridiculous. I mean, the Brian Branch thing yesterday was really controversial. He gets
that was ridiculous. How does a guy get thrown out for that? I've seen so many more cheap shots by Saints players alone that they weren't thrown out of the game.
Did Xavier Woods get thrown out of the game yesterday for Carolina for the hit on Olave over the middle of the field?
They should have.
Now,
of any.
Now, of course, you probably put a lot of blame on Derek Carr for throwing that pass.
Yes. Well, I know somebody who did. Which we can talk about.
Disaster in New Orleans, man. Wow.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Yeah. So well, let's roll right into that. Actually, let's hit a break. We'll come back and we got Saints information. They fired their head coach Dennis Allen this morning, and one of the reasons was probably the Michael Thomas tweet, right, which we'll tell you all about. We got Dak stuff. We got all kinds of stuff to get to. I got Ray's information we need to get to. There's some news on the local radio front, too, that I got to get to. Ooh. Get to that. So lots going on here at the JP Peterson Show. And we're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Julie and Steve Weintraub have been supporting this show for 14 years. And we love them to death. And it's because they're a great local company. They've done so much in philanthropy, and they have the best selection, and they have the best crew there that will never try to upsell you. It's an easy experience to buy that ring, and they got a new men's department as well with all the baller watches. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. We love them and thank them so much for being a great supporter of the show. Back in 3. Stay with us. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you can find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right, that's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gators Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gators Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808. 08.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez and Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the JP Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Ciao, Paolantonio here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Tarpon Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Wow, we got all kinds of breaking news in this town today. So we'll get to all of it here in our upcoming segment right here. We got soccer news. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We are brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you got a meeting coming up or some type of big birthday party or a charity event that you want the pros to produce, it's Extravaganza Productions. They are the best in the business. Very affordable, by the way, depending on what you want to do. And they've got a great warehouse full of stuff that they can use as props. So if you're in the market for such a thing, just take that free creative meeting courtesy of the JP Peterson Show, and they'll show you what they got. That's extravaganzaproductions.com. Look them up. Tell them JP sent you. All right, let's start with the breaking news, Nick. Messi's coming to Tampa.
Yes, he is.
Orlando City is moving their Miami game, or one of them, to Raymond James Stadium, February 14th, the Valentine's Day. We love Messi. We're all wearing pink on Valentine's Day in Raymond James. That's awesome.
Yes, this is it's technically a preseason match, but if they're moving this game, if this game's coming to Tampa and it's going to be in Raymond James of all places, let me tell you what, number 10 is going to be playing in that game. There's no doubt about that. And I bet you they're going to sell that game out too, because Messi is a worldwide draw.
Oh my God. Yes.
I'm excited. I already went out and filled the form to get the ticket information all set. I did that in the break. And
nice.
Yes, again, Valentine's Day, spend it wearing pink. Spend it watching Lionel Messi play football.
Oh, that's a definite. We're definitely going to be on that one. And as Rob Higgins tweeted out 3 minutes ago, our head of the Sports Authority, our goal is to bring world-class events to our hometown. 3 great announcements in less than a week. The Savannah Bananas going to do their first NFL stadium game. I'm going to that. That's going to be nuts. That was supposed to be at the Trop. No longer. Florida, Georgia football in 27. That's going to be flipping phenomenal. And Orlando City versus Inter Miami. Tampa's such a great place to hold these big events. We're so ready for it all. Now if we can just build my new dual stadium Hard Rock World deal. Yes, let's get it done.
Now only if we can somehow figure out to put a roof on that thing so we can get back in Super Bowl contention in regards to hosting that game.
You could probably do it with Raymond James is too. But then I don't know if you could get the Hard Rock money, but you couldn't build a casino there. That's where the money comes in, is the casino and the sports book. That's why you have to build it at the fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
But you could retrofit Raymond James Stadium. You got the room, and then you build the big superstructure in the middle of all the entertainment places and everything in the middle. You have all the same parking, all the same, and then you build the baseball stadium right next to it, attached to the big casino and everything in the middle. And then you have the sliding roof, baby. Sliding roof going back and forth, or the drone tarp. Definitely. We could have used a drone tarp in Tally. Freaking November 1st or 2nd, whatever it was 100 degrees at Doak Campbell Stadium. It was beautiful when, the only time the crowd cheered was when a cloud came over and made the sun side a shade side, because it was 20 degrees cooler by far. Well, so, and I'm sitting there telling my buddy the drone tarp idea. He's like, oh yeah, that's a winner. We got to do that.
It was nice at the bounce house in East Orlando on Saturday. Well, it wasn't nice, but it rained. It was one of those ugly days.
Oh,
but wow. I'll take that all day over.
Cover. Yeah, we were.
I'll take that all day over, feeling 90 and just dripping.
I was roasting like a chicken on a spit, man. It was just it was bad. One of the other reasons, we left at halftime. We're like, I'm not sitting here roasting like this and then watching this garbage. Yeah, thank you. I'm out. I'm out.
Peace.
So Messi's coming. Florida Georgia's coming in 27, and the Savannah Bananas at Ray J is going to be nuts. That's going to be the biggest. I don't think they've done it. They haven't done an NFL stadium game, so now they're going to play. And I guess what they'll configure it, I guess somehow there'll be a short porch in right or left field or whatever, however they configure it. But so don't start with the Rays can play there too. No, it's going to be that's not real baseball, but it's fun. It's super fun, and they figured it out. And so they're gonna probably do 3 nights in Raymond James, or maybe I think they're only going to do 1 night. They were going to do 2 or 3 nights.
It was going to be 2 nights at the Trop. It's going to be 1 night at Raymond James.
Okay, so that's what's going on there. So we got that breaking news. We have Dennis Allen fired by the Saints today. And upon good authority, WDAE 620 making some changes. It's November, man. November is when they that's when the corporate comes in and says, okay, cut, because they can. It's something to do with taxes that they save money on. So they cut everybody in November. They downsized. So now the only sports station left in this market, which I can't believe in Market 11, we only have 1 sports station. It's ridiculous. I've tried to get another one going, folks, but can't find the money. But now they fired Zach Blobner. Sorry to hear you go, Zach. You're a good dude, man. Even though you're a Gator. Great dude. Love him. Jay Retcher gets fired. Justice. And then John Momola has been fired as well, the program director. So, and corporate came in. The ratings have been horrible. They've been absolutely abysmal. So they're going to have 2 live shows. Pat and Aaron survived in the morning. Love Aaron. Great dude. And then T-Kraz in the afternoon. He's doing well. T-Kraz is doing well. It's a good show. Talented dude. But that's crazy. There's 2 live sports shows in a market this big. You want to talk about a gaping opening for somebody to come in and really kick ass? It's here in this market, but we just do it with podcasts. That's why we do what we do. Our numbers have steadily increased. That's why we just built this studio. We feel like there's a void in the marketplace here, and we're trying to fill it. And hopefully we can continue our expansion through this year to come. Lord knows what, depending on what happens tomorrow and the aftermath of what happens tomorrow. But that's a lot of news here locally. So, and that comes on very good authority. So Momola is out. Zach and Jay are out. And that's interesting. And they've only got 2 live shows. So Colin Coward's going to be on noon to 3. This is what I've heard. And then T-Kraz will take over, and they still have the morning show, and then Dan Patrick in the middle.
I don't like this.
It's not good for the market.
Beyond that, I just don't like to see people lose their jobs. I hate that. It's the holiday season, obviously.
Yeah, it happens.
It's unfortunate that it happens as often as it does. And I mean, I don't know all the guys like you do. and you've worked with some of them and all that, but I thought they always have done, really good work. I've respected their work for a long time. Always thought they were hard workers and everything, and did a really good job of pumping out content for the market. So I hate to hear that, for sure.
Yeah. It's just part of the business. It's a brutal business, but even hell, I was number 3 in my demo and I got fired. They're not close to that. And that's the reason they got fired. And it's the station continues to flounder. There's some good people over there. There's some not so good people over there. So that I've worked with, and they know who they are. And if you don't get the number, even if you get the numbers, obviously you could get fired. So no, I don't like to see anybody lose their job. No, I hate seeing that. But some were gleeful when I lost my job, and some were part of that. So I can't really have a lot of sympathy for them. Take the knife out the back, and I just can't. I'm not going to cry for them, not this time. So yeah, karma. Sorry, I wish. On a personal level, I don't like anybody to lose their job. I really don't. But sometimes what comes around goes around, and that's that. So, all right, we got so much more to talk about here. I want to get to, first of all, what do the Saints do? Dennis Allen is out. Where are they going next?
Well, the special teams,
not Liam
the special
Cohen,
teams coach is the interim head coach for the rest of the season, and I hear he's one of the better special team coaches in the league.
Who's that? Rich Bisaccia?
It's like Rizzi or something like that.
Yeah.
I had the name here right in front of me. Oh goodness, where was it at? I can't find it right now. But special teams coach is taking over. Darren Rizzi. Darren Rizzi is his name. But the Saints have lost 7 games in a row after a 2-0 start. The latest, a very bad loss to the Carolina Panthers, who, to put in perspective of how bad this loss was, JP, the Panthers are the first team in the Super Bowl era to win a game with under 250 total yards of offense, 0 takeaways, and allowing 425 plus total yards. So that was history in Charlotte yesterday. But I feel like we all saw this coming. I said at the beginning of the year, the Saints were going to be picking in the top 5 of the draft. And it seems like everybody could see it coming except for them. They continued to double down with this old roster of guys who are past their shelf life in the league. And they haven't
Cam
drafted.
Jordan, we're looking at you.
They haven't drafted well.
16 games.
They haven't drafted well lately. And then a few weeks ago, they go and give Alvin Kamara a 2-year extension worth $24.5 million. And Kamara is still playing well, but why are you continuing to put more money into the same players who you realistically need to be moving away from, because you need to get younger and you need to get cheaper? It doesn't make any sense to me. Bringing in Derek Carr was a desperate move. And to your point, Cam Jordan tweeting yesterday immediately after that game saying, we just lost to the Panthers. And he made it sound like this was like the worst thing in the world, which it is. We just lost to the Panthers. I love y'all, New Orleans. Truly had higher expectations and the best hopes for us. Y'all deserve it. And there were a lot of Panthers who were sort of trolling him after. The Panthers Twitter account was doing the same thing. You mentioned it. Cam Jordan has 0 sacks in his last 16 games dating back to last season. That's a full season's worth of no sacks. The Saints are going nowhere. They've been going nowhere. And with that, JP, I would love to just bring back this iconic clip here.
This year with somebody leaving your division. He says for good. And Tom Brady. I know you've had a lot of fun with those battles. What was your reaction when he says he's putting it up for good?
Well, this time he was able to say he was putting it up for good, right? Last time there was too many leaks that happened. It tainted, let the man retire. We salute him. We salute him and wish him the best. Just not, and whatever next endeavor that is. We're glad that he's out of the division, The Tampa Bay will probably go back to where Tampa Bay has been.
Appreciate you, Cam.
You mean in the playoffs? You mean winning the division where we've been, Cam?
How many games have the Saints won since Brady retired against the Bucs?
Not many. Yeah, their ass kicked, and they got their ass handed to them this year. Take some of that. Yeah, I'm sure Buck fans are enjoying this as well. I'm sure they're jumping in where the Panthers fans are.
What goes around comes around, man.
That's right. Karma, baby. Karma, baby.
The Saints are the biggest rival the Saints can deny it all they want, but the Bucs and the Saints are the biggest is the rivalry in the NFC South as far as I'm concerned. I think it's been that way for the last, going back to probably the whole Jameis thing in 2017 and Mike and all that with Lattimore. I feel like that's been the rivalry in the NFC South.
It has been.
We've seen them take liberties at some of our players. Don't think the Bucs have always done a great job of responding back to that sometimes, but the Bucs had the signature win over them in the playoffs when it mattered most. And so, the Saints are going to be bad for a long time as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, they will be. And who will be their next coach? Who's Billy B? Easy says Billy B.
Bill Belichick. No shot.
Belichick.
No shot. Bill's not going to take on a rebuild.
He's going to the Cowboys.
Doesn't that seem very obvious at this point?
It kind of does.
I mean, Jerry Jones is living in the past. They lose that game yesterday, and Jerry speaks after because, of course, the owner has to speak just every day. He just can't shut up. And
can you imagine Joel or Brian doing interviews.
It's crazy.
After the game.
The only guys I ever hear from in the NFL that are owners are Jerry, and then occasionally you'll hear from Jim Irsay or something.
Right.
But Jerry speaks every day. He overshadows his entire team. He contributes to the dysfunction because he is dysfunctional as an owner and a general manager. And yesterday, he's telling a story about, well, I remember when Michael Irvin was really mad after we lost all those games, and then we won 3 Super Bowls after it. It's you're talking about stuff that happened 10 years before I was even born, Jerry. It's over. The Dallas Cowboys, as we knew them, is so well in the past. I'm tired of hearing people talk about them, to be frank with you. They, as Dak just said yesterday, as we could pick up his words on the sideline, we effing suck. Yeah, yes. It's torture to watch the Dallas Cowboys play football. They are a bad, bad football team, and I'm over them. I'm completely over them.
Yeah.
So my point, though, to Belichick, it would make sense for Jerry to continue to live in the past and go get Bill Belichick.
Yes. Sorry, I'm responding to some of my sources. As I can't do 2 things at one time, so I'll have to respond to this right. Say awesome job. The folks at the TSA have done an awesome job. This NFC South is going to be very interesting. I think the Falcons, Kirk Cousins is a stopgap, right? That they drafted Michael Penix. We don't know how good he's going to be, but it appears to me, God, I hate to even say this, but the Falcons are on the rise, and they effed it up so bad. They should be so much better than they are with the draft picks that they had and the cash that they had and all the things that they could have done. Still don't have a pass rusher. This division, the Falcons are getting better, but I don't think they've turned the corner. Right? I don't think it's still a division that the Bucs can win. It really can. And I think, Sal Pal said it. It's the Bucs have lost to some good teams. The Ravens are legit. They're going to put up a lot of yards on a lot of different people. And the 2 injuries obviously crushed the Bucs in that game. The Falcons are a good offense. I mean, they are. I mean, they've been great against us, pretty pedestrian against everybody else, but they've got the pieces to be really, really good. Mm-hmm. We saw what Kyle Pitts did to us. And Drake London's a hell of a receiver. Clearly Bijan Robinson and Algier are as good a tandem as there are in football in terms of running backs. Their offensive line is not great, but it's good enough. I mean, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good offensive line. They can't rush the passer, but they got some playmakers on D. So it's there for the taking for the Bucs. I still think the Bucs are on the rise. The Bucs they just desperately need an edge rusher, an inside linebacker, and they got questions at receiver. But I still think, the offensive line is good and young. I think Baker's a good quarterback. I think they can run the football. They just got to get some playmakers on defense and need some leadership on defense as well. They need a badass. They need to,
Yeah, I'm tired. Listen,
they trade for Roquan Smith or someone like that,
They've hit on a lot of
bell cow on that.
Yeah, they've hit on a lot of these players that they've drafted, and Jason Licht deserves a lot of credit for it. But if he had a blind spot, just a lot of choir boys out there. It just feels like that. I know everybody likes to compare it to the days when you were just coming into the market. The Bucs had fire starters all over the defense, whether it was Warren or Derek or some of these other guys. But like I said, the fire starter right now kind of seems like it's KJ Britt. And he's just the latest in a long line of linebackers who just were not good enough, but they were the loudest guys. KJ Britt, Devin White, Quan Alexander, Barrett Ruud. It's like we've just gone in succession of Bucs defenses over the last 15 years. And the linebacker in the middle is the guy who everybody's like listening talk, but they stink. It literally has gone Barrett Ruud, Quan, Devin White.
Like side-eyeing everybody they bring in. Like, really? Like, look at this group. Like, can you get me anybody? Just give me something to work with, for God's sakes. I mean, when before everybody knew Devin White was the dumbest middle linebacker in football, they could take advantage of him. You can work with that, early on.
Yeah,
and Levante did.
At least Devin, like, I got to be honest, I don't think Devin was ever as bad as what KJ Britt is putting out there right now. I don't think so. At least Devin, I would not. At least Devin could come up and make some plays, whether it's on the, like with these blitzes and stuff like that. He was really good at that. At least he had a strength. KJ Britt hasn't have any strengths right now. Like, he can't make plays in the run game. He's got all these
run game.
No, he's not. He's got all these tackles. He's got no tackles for loss. Like, he's got enough. He's made no plays. At least Devin would have like a game too, like last year against, what was it, Jacksonville, maybe late in the season, where he came alive, and then the Seattle game a couple years ago, like where he came alive too. Like, he'll have those games where he just plays completely possessed. I don't see it with KJ Britt outside of that little stretch he had last year.
I think they're both terrible. I mean, have a debate on who's worse. It doesn't really matter.
We're splitting hairs here. But KJ Britt's the worst linebacker in football this year.
Devin was always the guy that they picked on in the key moments because they knew they could take advantage of him in the red zone and on third down. It was just easy pickings. So that just keeps you from winning so often. But they got to find an answer. I mean, they got to find an answer. I don't think they didn't draft an inside linebacker this year. They drafted Servasi last year.
No,
did not draft one this year. They signed Deloach, and they like Deloach, but he's not ready.
No, and now it's he's gone now, and obviously Vi Jones is the guy that
I thought Vi Jones played really well in the preseason. To me, he sparkled. I saw, but you never, because they're going up against such, guys that aren't playing anymore. So it's hard to.
Yeah.
I thought he showed some instincts. I thought he showed some quickness. He can't be worse than Britt. Britt's awful. So give him a shot. I hope he gets some time this week.
From everything that we've heard, it doesn't sound like the Bucs or Jason Licht they're going to make a move tomorrow.
No.
So you have your guys.
Disappointing.
You have your guys, and they are what they are. But again, it's like JJ Russell. Like, how can he not touch the field right now over KJ Britt, or the fact that there's 31 other practice squads out there of guys that you can pick off of, and I'm sure there's inside linebackers on all these practice squads. Like, just take anybody. Anybody, I think, would be a little bit better than what you got with KJ Britt. Just try something different. If you just live with KJ Britt on every down for 17 games, this is not going to get better.
Right. And I would, as Tim Witherspoon says, we need a Max Crosby type animal on the defensive line. We do. They're just hard to find. They're so hard to find. Although he wasn't a early round pick, was he, Max Crosby? Like a mid first round?
No, he wasn't even a first round pick. He was like a third or fourth round pick. But even like Trey Hendrickson for Cincinnati had 4 sacks yesterday. He leads the league in sacks. He was not a first round pick. Myles Garrett obviously was the first overall pick, and he had a day yesterday. Dealing with going up against Joe Alt and Slater, who are 2 of the best young tackles in the league. But yeah, other teams have just a difference maker out there. Like, look at Pittsburgh, for example. Pittsburgh's numbers look great defensively. They're not as good as what their numbers say they are, but they have an equalizer, and his name is TJ Watt. Like, that's what the best teams in this league all have, and the Bucs don't have it.
Yeah. They got to get now. So how do they play the rest of the season without it? Yaya's got to get, he's got to get going. They got to be able to get him going, get him in some singled up situations, because right now, he was talking to Rick Stroud about getting chipped, and, I don't know where it's coming from now. He's a marked man now. People know he can play. So now you get this. You got to learn how to play with this. I think he has the ability, but it takes time. You got to learn how to play. And Todd Bowles has got to figure out ways to get him not chipped. Move him around. He's your best guy. The other guys are just dudes. So treat him like you would treat some of these other guys.
I don't know if some of the other guys are just dudes. Like JTS, I don't even know if he's worthy of just being called him just a dude. He plays as much as he does. And again, last week he didn't even get on the stat sheet. Like, if you're an opposing offensive coordinator, it's like, yeah, you gotta do a little bit what you can to stop Diaby, but like, are you really gonna be like, oh man, we gotta stop JTS today, we gotta stop Anthony Nelson today, we gotta stop Chris Braswell today? No, of course you're not.
Yeah, and there's guys in this league that are serviceable and way better than what we have in the middle. And I'm not talking guys on practice squad. Listen, I don't have the list in front of me, but I could go through these 32 teams and find an inside linebacker who's average, which would make this team so much better. Who's at the end of his contract, who's probably 27, 28 years old, has been a Van Ginkel type, somebody like that that's just been around, is 5-6 years in the league, knows how to tackle, knows how to cover, knows how to play the game, has the savvy, has the smarts, has some leadership to him. There's guys out there. And I wish Jason Light would be aggressive and go find one, because this defense is missing that. It's missing that. And, I know it's hard to find edge rushers. They're very difficult to find. I get it. I'm not talking about spending, tons of draft capital, but, there's guys that are moving for 4th and 5th round picks that can make this team better. Why not do it? You got a young team. You got a ton of draft picks playing. You don't need all your draft picks for last year. You don't have room for them for next year. You don't have room for them.
Yeah. And
so
you got to have
a couple and get proven players that can help you this year.
Yeah. And if you want to build through the draft, and listen, that's the best way to do it, is build through the draft. And Jason Licht has done that. Well, some of the guys that you drafted in the interior and on the edges have to show up. And I'll give you an example of a team that has hit on all their guys. The Los Angeles Rams. They picked Jared Verse in the first round this year. He's been a monster this year. He's the leading candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year award, rookie. And he was big time yesterday. They drafted Braden Fisk in the second round, 2 sacks yesterday. They drafted Byron Young in the 3rd round last year, and he's been good for them. They drafted Kobe Turner in the 3rd round last year, and he was good for them. All 4 of those guys recorded at least 1 sack yesterday, by the way. And so they built that through the draft. And they've gotten immediate returns from
first rounder. Well, Verse was.
Outside of Verse, those guys were not first rounders. And you see how big time they've been for them. And the Bucs, it's like JTS is a bust. Braswell, I'm seeing some signs of development, but it's going to take time. Yaya has not been as effective this year as he was last year.
Braswell's not going to ever be a huge
Probably not. And then Kalijah Cansey, maybe it's the fact that he got a setback to start his second year like he did last year, and maybe he'll come on in the second half of the season like he did last year. But right now, Kalijah Cansey hasn't really showed up either.
Yeah, there's, it's Monday Night Football. Be a nice time to show up, guys. I know there's talent there. This defense is so underperforming, I think, tremendously so. And don't tell me it's because of Jamel Dean and Servassier Dennis. I'm not buying that. You got to be able to find your way. Every team has injuries. You got to be able to be better. And Todd Bowles is supposed to be a defensive savant. You got to be better than 36 points a game. I mean, even if they're good offenses, you got to be better than that. This team's scoring 30 points a game. Hold them to 24, for God's sakes. 24 points. That's not even good defense. That's okay defense. Just be average, and you can win this division. And listen, anything can happen tonight. I'm looking forward to watching the game, and hopefully something good happens. Hey, let's take one more break. We got to hit one more break. And when we come back, I want to hit the Lightning. A couple of more things we got to talk a little bit more USF and UCF as well. We're not forgetting that. We'll run a little over if we have to today. Quick break. Back to our beautiful South Tampa studios. Don't have all our bells and whistles yet. I got to get all the TVs working today. We'll have that for you next week. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all, it's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best of the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at rogersparkgolf.net. That's rogersparkgolf.net. See you there.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Third Generation Plumbing. John Rodriguez and his crew over there are absolutely fabulous and awesome. We had a emergency situation over here last week. We called them up. They were here within a half an hour, took care of it, came back the next day, fixed the problem. Absolutely awesome. They are the best in customer service. They have a great reputation. Go to their website, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. They also do AC and a lot of other things around the house. If you got hurricane damage, they will be able to help you out with that as well. So give them a call. Just go to their website, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Been in business since 1995. Great folks over there. You get great work, honest work, and that's what you want. You don't mind paying for it as long as it's honest and they're not trying to oversell you something, a new AC unit you don't need or plumbing stuff you don't need. They are ready and willing to help with any of your storm damage as well. So give them a call over there at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Great folks. All right, I want to get to our great commenters. Why don't you opine on what you saw from UCF and where they're at right now, since you were there Saturday? How was your experience? Better than mine?
For sure. I should have saw this coming. They wore the Space Game uniforms, the Citronauts, and UCF is now 8-0 when they wear the Space Game uniforms. Their average margin of victory is like 33 point something.
So better than the Creamsicles.
Yeah, it's crazy, actually. And they play Arizona. Arizona's not a good football team. They're on a 5-game losing streak now, too. UCF was on one coming in, but UCF won 56-12. And they started the fourth-string quarterback, Dylan Risk, got the start today. UCF was starting its fourth quarterback in the last 5 weeks, which they're all healthy, by the way. So not a normal operation whatsoever, but Dylan Risk is his name. He came in, and he played as perfect as you probably could have. Honestly. And for an offense that had not scored more than 21 points at all in a single game during the 5-game losing streak to put up 56.
So you went to the fourth-string quarterback, Mike Norvell. Are you listening? Trevor Wilson.
Trevor Jackson.
In the bullpen. Bring him up. Trevor Jackson. Why do I keep calling him Trevor?
Yeah, apparently that's the way. But the funny part is, JP, Gus Malzahn loves his running quarterbacks. And he had 3 of them who none of them could really throw that well. And then he decided to go to the one guy who throws the better ball of the 4. And all of a sudden the offense is moving because they can complete passes. And in his first career collegiate start, he completes a Hail Mary before half. There are quarterbacks who go their entire career without hitting one, and he hits one in his first career game.
Wow. So we got a future quarterback. What's his pedigree?
He was a 3-star recruit coming out. He is a redshirt freshman. So he's still got a lot of eligibility. Thought he was going to be probably entering the portal after the year, but now, I mean, if he keeps this up, I mean, teams have film on him now. And they have a tough game against Arizona State on the road coming up, who's 6-2. So we'll see if he can keep it up. But for now, he at least has provided some stability. And Gus also conceded the play calling duties to Tim Harris Jr. this week, and he fired his defensive coordinator, Ted Roof, and both units were much improved.
Making changes, improving. Mike Norvell, are you listening? Do we got any of the Norvell? He finally got pissed off after the game. We don't have to play the whole thing. Just like give the folks a feel for, some actual anger, which I like.
Yeah, the question here, it came from Corey Clark of
Corey Clark,
Chant, and it was basically like, have you lost confidence in your ability to turn this around? And here was Norvell's answer.
Staring him down.
I mean, I've lived it. I've been through it. I've seen the highs and lows, on a game of football and hell in a game of life, just to be honest with you. All right. I know and believe in what can be done, how it can be done. There's not, I don't need a motivational speech or even an encouraging word. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Right? I know what it needs to look like. I know how you need to work. I know how you need to apply the lessons that are learned. Right. And I damn sure know that I can do that. Right. And I know that I can put together a team and a group that absolutely can respond to that. We've not done a good enough job of that. Right. And I do believe in those players in there. Right. And I want extremely bad for them to be able to put on display what I know they're capable of. Right. And, it's, we've not done I've not done a good enough job of that. We've not done a good enough job. And in all reality, they haven't done a good enough job. We're all accountable to this. Right. But this all comes back to me because I have the privilege of being the leader of this program. But no, I absolutely, am I pissed off about it? Yes. Right. Can I tell you that I understand, all things that I see on the field? Not all of it. There's some things that I just, for whatever reason it shows up in the moment. Like, even some of the responses that I get of the why, those things. There's some challenges that have showed up in that regards. But when it comes to my confidence, I absolutely believe, and I've been knocked down before. I've been a part of losing streaks. I've been a part of challenging times, injuries, things that you faced, and I know how to rise up out of that. And I fully believe that we're going to, right? And I fully believe there's going to be a lot of guys in that locker room. They're going to be leading the charge when it comes to that, right? But we've got to be better now in this moment. And you can sit there and talk about what's ahead and what's in front of it. I really just care about today. And today we failed. We did not.
That's good.
Not show up.
Great talk. Great talk. I love the passion. I believe Mike Norvell can do it because I've seen him do it. The dude won 19 games in a row. Now, a lot of that was because he had some incredible players who were making waves in the NFL. Go find them. You found them before. Go find them. They're going to have to pick up about 30 guys in the portal, maybe more. It sucks, but I know this. He's done it before. And they've got to. Now, if he makes, one or two tweaks to the staff, then I don't believe him a word. He's got to make wholesale changes. I don't see anybody on that staff, frankly, that's worth keeping. And
I would keep the special teams coach, which what is that? Pachulis?
He's got a good punter and a good kicker. Those are individual talents. They have nothing. I don't think the special teams are good.
Well, you can't fire. What do you fire him after he has an NFL kicker and NFL punter on his roster? Like, he still has to probably stay. They did run a kickoff back for a touchdown. Yeah, and listen, the secondary has a lot of issues with the guys just not being physical and showing enough willing to tackle. But I still think Surtain has done his job as a recruiter at least, and that's why he's worth keeping. But everybody else, I'd clean house.
Yeah, I would too. Surtain I would keep. Absolutely, I would keep him. There's nobody else on the staff. And the special teams guy. Okay, great. New offensive coordinator and to run a different offense.
Mike needs to humble himself and acknowledge he cannot call plays.
Yeah, you can't do it.
When you have the worst offense in the nation below, Kent State levels, and this is the worst offense I think we've seen in the history of the ACC. I don't think you should be calling plays next year. Yeah,
and you look back at his success over those last 2 years, and it was 95% Jordan Travis improvising. It was. We saw it. because their offense would be dreadful for long stretches, and then Travis would make a play.
Yeah, or Trey Benson would break a tackle and he's off.
Benson would break a big one, or they'd throw it up to Keon, he'd come down with it, and or Johnny would come down with it. That was it. That was the offense. There was no magic to it. There was no,
and it hasn't proven, and it hasn't proven itself out since Norvell's come here. The offense has sucked largely without Jordan Travis as your quarterback.
Yes.
That's a real thing. He's won like 5 games or 4 games without Jordan Travis.
His record without Jordan is like 5 and
it's
18, I think.
Yeah, and it's not like your offense is like, oh, it's not as good without Jordan. Like they're not functionable. Even when remember the ACC championship game, they had all the players available except for Jordan, and they literally had to run Wildcat the entire game to do anything.
Right. That shouldn't be. They're backup quarterbacks all over America that are your fourth stringer in UCF. I mean, every week you see a new freshman coming in, and why Trevor Jackson hasn't played. I mean, you want somebody who can at least improvise. There you go.
I don't know. The part that sucks is you're trying to evaluate both these quarterbacks, and
you can't.
I don't think it's not a fair evaluation, unfortunately. Like they're doing some good things, but it's like they'll go to their first read, JP.
Mm-hmm.
Shocker, nobody's open. And they're not seeing it fast enough to move to the second read. And then the rush comes and they just they turtle up and it's over.
Yeah, it's just terrible. I feel bad for Luke and Brock, but it's hard to evaluate them. I agree. It's impossible to evaluate them when they're under complete duress as soon as they get the ball. It's ridiculous. And and they make some good plays. Like Luke made a couple of good running plays. One of the picks was horrible. But it's just I can't evaluate them with this awful offensive line. There's so much, but I do believe Mike can do it. I don't know why, but I do believe Mike can do it because he's done it. I do know why, because he's done it before. And the staff is just god awful. All right. You got some goalish too. I wanted to play, and we need to talk a little bit about the USF game and what the hell happened there. Great job by USF sticking with the run, by the way, and just trampling FAU with their running attack. And then late in the game, Golish went for 2, right? Late. Mm-hmm. This is in response to FAU being up 56-14 last year and doing an onside kick at Raymond James Stadium too, by the way. So a little bit of nastiness going on there. And then after the game, it was a very I got to come to midfield because otherwise I'm just doing this. I'm going to get fined. And it was a little nasty at midfield too, and away they go. So here's did I set that up right?
Yeah, you got it. I can't show the midfield interaction because it was a TV broadcast thing. I don't want to get copyrighted there.
Right.
But I will play. This was Golish after the game, explaining what that whole ordeal was.
Not a whole lot of back and forth. Nothing really. Just I said a year ago we would be back to get it, and we came back to get it. Whatever's said is said. I'm good. I think it was said that we recruit against each other. I think it, said we don't like each other. I got a lot of respect for the staff. I think they do a really good job. I don't specifically think we recruit against each other. At least I can't think of a guy that we had to go beat them on. We certainly run into them. Got a lot of respect for a lot of those guys. But I said we were coming back to get it. Last year at the end of the game, we got embarrassed at home. We came and got it. And we'll continue to do so.
Boss man. Wow. Nice.
I don't want to hear anybody saying like, oh, don't be a better representation for the university and why you have to do that. No, screw all that. USF, it's time for them to have some bite to their program. Yes. And I love how he phrased that too, where it was like, I said we were coming to get it and we got it. He could have just dropped the mic right there. That's all it needed to be said. I mean, at the end of the day, I know FAU's trying to make USF a rival, and maybe it's not a natural rivalry necessarily, but hey, it's a team that's in your conference that's only 4 hours away south. Like, yeah, I mean, they kind of are your de facto rival now in that conference, and they completely destroyed them in the second half.
Yeah, they did, and they needed that, and so now they're set up. They got Navy coming in this week, right?
That's a tough game.
Yeah. So that's all right. Listen, that's a team. It's going to be tough to beat, but you never know. Like it's listen, you went toe to toe with Alabama. Okay. It's Navy. Go out there and do it. Get coached up and get it done. Get a big win. And if you don't win, it's okay. You still got the last 3 cupcakes that you should be able to take care of and get.
I was going to say, like, Navy's going to be tough, but if you like to take your chances against Charlotte, Tulsa, and Rice to end the season, and that would get you to 7 wins, which is 1 more than you had last year in the regular season. So it would still signify, hey, we're improving. Right. And obviously Byron Brown not playing either is difficult to overcome. And
then go get yourself a bowl win. Get your 15 practices in and go get yourself another impressive bowl win, and you continue to rise. Right. Continue to rise. And it's a great narrative to sell in the off season. So it's all there for USF. It's, none of these, USF doesn't get gimmies. Okay. They don't get gimmies even against Tulsa and Rice and those other teams, because I thought some of them were gimmies last year and they lost, like to UAB. You get stomped. And FAU. Like, I didn't see that coming. But that was last year. This is a better football team. All around better.
To be fair, the teams they should beat on their schedule, they have beaten. Like their losses aren't against Alabama, Miami. There's no shame in that. Tulane has turned out to be a pretty good Group of 5 team, and then Memphis, even though they lost this week, is still a solid Group of 5 program. Like maybe you wanted a better fight against Tulane and Memphis for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially Tulane.
Yeah, and you don't want to be losing by 2 scores to UAB at one point, but you did win those games that you were supposed to win.
Yeah. Take care of business. And go steal, beat Navy, beat an undefeated Navy team.
Well, they got 1 loss. They lost to Notre Dame.
Oh, that's right. Beat a 1-loss Navy team, a ranked team, get a ranked win, then clean up the rest of your schedule impressively, and get a really nice bowl invitation and go kick some ass. That's there's a lot ahead for USF. There's a lot ahead for USF, and I like where they're at. All right, that's that. Oh, we didn't talk any Lightning. Lightning lost last night at Winnipeg, or yesterday. Some sloppy turnovers turned into goals. They had a 2-0 lead and they couldn't finish it. Cooper pulls the goalie with 3:59 left in a one score game. People may have a problem with that.
He did that against Minnesota too on Friday night. I mean, it's what he does. He always pulls it early, and it's always a gamble when you pull the goalie. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I think the thing we're all waiting for now is the update on Braden Point, because he did not play after the first 10 minutes of the first period. There was no update. Maybe we'll hear something today, but
they're practicing in St. Louis today, and they'll play there tomorrow night. So hopefully, and then they'll be back home Thursday against the Flyers, I believe. That was,
and also if you're starting Johansson against Winnipeg, which is the best team in the league, I don't want to say you were waving the white flag before it started, but clearly you were not as focused on that one if you're not playing Vasilevsky against the best team in the league.
Right. It's fine.
Doesn't excuse the defensive errors that happened in front of them. But
exactly. Constant turnovers are not going to be good for your backup goalie. Give him a little bit better coverage in front and see what he can do. And Johansson, I have great respect for him. I think he's a really good goalie. He's a great backup. He seems to always be ready. Yeah, I wouldn't put a lot of those on him. That was a tough one. Couple, but not, all of them. Of course, 2 of them were empty netters. So it's a 5-4 hockey game with 4 minutes to play. And, you tied it up, you got there, and you just couldn't. And that's a really good Winnipeg team. So I think the Lightning are fine. They can get 2 points tomorrow against St. Louis. Then they get 4 on the road trip. That's good. 4 out of 8. It's fine with where you're at right now. All right. Great job, Nick. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks to Sal Paolantonio for joining us here today on his wife's birthday. Thank you to Mrs. Paolantonio for allowing that as well. Good stuff. We will be back tomorrow in our 10 to 12 block, going over all Bucs Chiefs all the time. So join us for that tomorrow from 10 to 12. And going forward, if you want some local sports talk from the 10 to, 3 o'clock hour now, since there won't be another local show at noon on 620 WDAE, in case you missed that. J and Z have been fired, as was John Momola. So come right here for all your local entertainment from 10 to 12 each and every day. Have a great day, everybody. Go Bucs tonight, and we will see you tomorrow.